I'm Steve Morgan, founder of Cybersecurity Ventures and editor-in-chief at Cybercrime Magazine. As part of our ongoing coverage on cybercrime and cybersecurity, we recently spoke to several top experts about their paths to becoming security leaders. But before we check in with the CISOs, we caught up with Yella Waringa, security awareness advocate at KnowBe4.
If you look at the background that CISOs have and other CISOs that I talk to, it used to be that most of them come from a technical background in IT or anything like that. But if you look today, with communication being such a key part of being a CISO nowadays and understanding the business of the company and the organization you work for, I see a lot more coming from roles that even things like marketing. I see them come in from business roles where they have a better understanding of cybersecurity, but also have that understanding of the organization, what it does, and how you can communicate with that organization to make things happen. Because in the end, the CISO, yes, he's responsible for compliance. Yes, he's responsible for cybersecurity, but he also has to make it work. And for that, he needs the rest of the organization.
So how do you become a CISO? There is no one path. Paul Connolly, Chief Security Officer at HCA Healthcare, started his journey right out of college.
Out of college, I had an opportunity to work at the National Security Agency, which is another great organization. And I was part of an assessment team that studied the security of White House systems, kind of the national security side of the White House, and had a bunch of recommendations. And one of them was that they needed to start a program and have somebody in charge. And the CISO title didn't even exist back then. They called it the ISO, Information Security Officer. So I was detailed from NSA on a 2-year assignment to build it up, get things going. And part of my job was to help lead a process where they would choose my successor and someone who would permanently be in the role, because I was still a fairly junior person. And they went through all these interviews and came back to me and said, we don't like anybody as much as we like you. And so they offered me the opportunity to stay. So I ended up staying there actually 9 years and worked under Presidents Reagan, Bush, and Clinton, and getting a chance to build a program from the ground up. It was just an extraordinary experience that's carried forward. Lessons learned I've carried forward through my whole career.
Mary Rose Martinez, VP and CISO at Marathon Petroleum Corporation, oversees security operations at one of the world's largest petroleum companies, but she didn't always. Her resume is widespread and includes decades of energy sector experience with the likes of Halliburton and Shell.
I'm originally from the Philippines. I moved to the US for college, and in that regard, I got my undergraduate degrees in computer science and mathematics, and subsequently got master's degrees in computer science as well as in cybersecurity. When I moved to the US, my closest relatives happened to be in Houston. And so, as some would say, Houston is the energy capital of the world. So started right off the bat in oil and gas, and have been in this industry for the last 30 years and had a great opportunity really to work in a variety of roles, from software R&D to sort of all the different roles within IT, even a stint in marketing. And now my latest is really in the cyber realm.
Debbie Wheeler, CISO at Delta Airlines, started her career in the technology field. However, it wasn't long before she transitioned into cybersecurity to address the rapidly evolving digital threat landscape.
So I've been in technology all of my career, and I started in telecommunications. So I was a network engineer for a company called MCI. And one day my boss came to me and under that other duties as assigned clause of my job description asked me if I'd be interested in taking on a project to tackle viruses. And at that time, viruses were something that dumped all the words in your Word document to the bottom of the screen or caused your spreadsheet to not calculate properly. So very different than what we're dealing with today. But I did that project, and soon any type of a security-related project was coming to my doorstep, and that's how I wound up in the field.
For others, the road to becoming a CISO is less straightforward. Ron Green, Chief Security Officer at MasterCard, spent his early years planning for a career in law enforcement, only to later find his calling in cybersecurity.
In high school and middle school, I used to do the cracking of games and things like that. So I had a lot of exposure to computers, but I never saw, cyber or programming as a career field that I was going to go into. So after high school, went to West Point, I joined the Secret Service, and there is where cybersecurity came up as a real career option for me. At the Secret Service, we would go out on search warrants a lot, and we would seize computers. And all of my peers had degrees in criminal justice, and I had a degree in mechanical engineering. So the criminal justice guys, the senior agents, and all of my peers would say, you got a degree in engineering. We have all these computers. Do something. So that's when I started examining computers, and headquarters found out and said, hey, do you want to be a electronic crime special agent? A bit of a long story there, but eventually I said yes. It took a little bit, but eventually I said yes. And so after my training and doing a bunch of hardware exploitations and things like that, that set me on the path for cybersecurity as a career field.
For more information on cybercrime and cybersecurity, including the latest facts, figures, and statistics which convey the magnitude of the threat we're up against, visit us at cybersecurityventures.com. This special production is sponsored by KnowBe4, the world's first and largest new school security awareness training and simulated phishing provider that helps you manage the ongoing problem of social engineering. To learn more about our sponsor, KnowBe4, visit knowbe4.com.